Hello.
Hello.
Oh, hi.
All right. We've been procrastinating for about 40 minutes trying to get this live to go because we've been in like the most giggly mood ever. We actually started a live before, and after about 4 seconds we were losing it.
Yeah, so we had to start again.
So we had to stop it and delete the footage. So hopefully we can like get our act together now and actually do the live.
Seems good.
We've been laughing though because on my computer, as we're streaming in my group and Viola's group, and on my computer, when you start the live, the video actually like inverts.
Yeah, it's like mirror or like,
mirrored.
The opposite, yeah.
So when we're looking at the screen, we've been trying to fix our hair and going on the wrong sides, and we just have not been able to sort ourselves out.
Yeah.
But we're going to start talking about yeah. Your mum's like, yay! Just like you on the live.
Yeah.
So we're going to start talking about vision alignment and like really getting into that vision that you've had, you know, on a soul level before you even came here. Mm-hmm. Like something that you've been thinking about ever since you were a kid, potentially. Whether you're like at a point where you've started like putting your life together and realizing that you have like a bigger vision for something else.
Nick was doing the laughing faces too.
And how to get into alignment with like every area of that vision, as opposed to like just going for what do you call it, like a
like you have like an end goal in mind or something like that, and then you basically just focus all of your energy to that and forget about kind of everything else in your life, which is so important too and makes it worth it.
Yeah, and like every part of you that needs to be embodied in order to live that vision. Because like, say for example, you could have like a big vision of being like running like a huge empire, you know, like really successful in a certain like project or business or something, and then like if you don't have the health or the energy for it, like how do you expect to keep up with that? How do you expect to actually thrive in it if you're exhausted and you're needing to nap every day, or you know, like you can't actually function within that.
Sorry. There we go.
Just adjusting. Yeah. So basically we're kind of like really similar in a way in terms of like we've both had this sense ever since we were little of knowing that there's always been like a vision within that we may not have been able to fully explain, in terms like you might not have been able to tell someone like all the logistics of it or how it all is going to unfold, but a feeling of it and a knowing of it internally, and like knowing that within, and knowing that whatever the kind of normal life setup is, you know, like here on earth, is just kind of like we could do that, but we're here for more. Like we get like
no thanks.
like okay, that'd be fine, but no, like I'm gonna do something different. Like I'm gonna do something special. I'm gonna do something, you know, and like we were talking about before, it's not necessarily like special as if we're like the chosen ones and then so you know we're so special, but like special to us in terms of like this is my feeling of like what's special to me and how I've really fulfilled a certain vision that's really special to me.
And it's almost like that feeling of like you do love the things in your life and you're grateful for the things in your life, but it's like this deep knowing that you're actually capable of more, and that's that feeling that pulls you forward. Like we were talking before, how like sometimes you can be knowing your soul, knowing your purpose, knowing your vision, and knowing that you're fully in it, you know, like living it, and exactly at the point that you're meant to be at a certain stage, and being like at the same time totally grateful for everything that you have, but on another level feeling somewhat dissatisfied because you know that there is so much more
to experience as it continues. And not that there's like an end goal or anything, but you just know that you're not finished. And so it's like, I'm so gratified. I'm so grateful and in such a state of gratitude. but I know that there's like so much more for me to fulfill. And so it's like, you just get that feeling of like, I'm not done yet. Like, this is in its place, but I'm not done yet. Like, there's so much more. So whoever's online, if you can just comment if you have had like a certain vision ever since you were little. Hey Livy, hey Jazz, and Janessa.
Hey Jazz, hi Livy, Nick, Kate, Connie.
Oh, yay. Yeah, because we're streaming in both the groups, so we're just
I wonder if we can see
noticing both the comments.
Yeah.
So if you can comment if you've either like had a vision since you were little, or like a certain vision's been like coming to you, you know, in the last few years or something, or if you don't know what it is exactly, but you feel it and you know that the kind of day-to-day life of like 9 to 5 is just not going to do it for you.
It's almost just like that feeling that you don't even sometimes know how to explain it, other than it's like you feel like there's more, you know, there's more than just paying bills, there's more than just like slotting into what everyone else is doing. It's like, you might not necessarily even know what that vision is. I mean, I don't think I really knew for myself. I just knew it wasn't what everyone else was doing.
And I remember like when I was little, I would literally go up to my parents and say to them, and it sounds like, to say it as an adult, it sounds really kind of like, you know, egotistic. But as a kid, like, you say things so like confidently and so like innocently with pure intentions with it. Like, I'd literally like go up to my parents and be like, say to them like, I'm gonna be so successful, and just be like, I'm gonna do so many cool things, and like say to them like, I'm gonna make so much money, and like just saying all the stuff. Like, I'm gonna do whatever I want, and I'm gonna have my own business, and it's just all, I just had this knowing that it was all just gonna work out, and that it would all be abundant, basically. And I used to go up to them and like, I'd have my pen and paper, like my notes ready, and my whole intention with it was like, the abundance is for the purpose of passing it forward, kind of thing, or like utilizing it purposefully. So and like as a kid, I just had like this pure intention of like, I want to give back to my parents. Like, that's the whole reason for the abundance for me. And so I'd go out to my mum and dad and like individually be like, okay, like, let's write your list of what I'm going to give back to you. And so this was when I was like 6. And I'd be like, okay, so Dad, what do you want? If you could have anything in the world, like literally, it's going to be like, there's no limits, just anything in the world. What do you want? And he'd be like, okay, I want a launch boat. Because he's like, he loves being like on the ocean, like fishing and everything like that. So I'd like write down like launch boat. Don't know what that is. But like, I'd be like, okay, launch boat. And then I'd like write down all these things. I remember my mum wanted to retire, like have like a villa in Italy and like all this stuff. And I'd be like writing them all down. And then I'd go and Google some of what the things were. Like I Googled like launch boat, and it came out with a launch boat, and it was like $2 million. And I was like, okay, $2 million. Like writing it down, like, but I was like, even though I couldn't say how I was going to be, you know, running my own business or doing my own thing and so being successful, I just knew like the essence of the woman that I would be in a sense.
Oh, I so relate with that as well. Like, there's this one story that we retell all the time when I was in kindergarten, and we had to draw pictures of what we wanted to be when we grew up, and I was like, I was definitely under 5. Like, I don't know how old I was, and I drew myself, like, as a princess in this castle, and wrote, and they're like, what are you? And I'm like, a millionaire. Like, obviously, like, and it is so true. Like, when you're young, it is just such, like, a different energy. And, like, if I said that to people now, like, what are you going to be when you grow up? A millionaire. They'd be like, oh, my God.
Oh, yes, totally. Yeah, but I think it's also, like, the aspect of it is, like, as a kid, you don't know how to say, I'm going to be infinitely abundant. You just say, I'm just going to be a millionaire. Like, it's the idea of, like, limitlessness. Or it's the idea of, I can thrive. Like, I can go above the kind of the average, or the, what people tend to struggle with. Like, I can go beyond that. kind of thing, and not in an egotistical way, but just knowing like this is fucking possible, like I can do this. And because as your kid, like you know how like connected you are to your soul, and of course your soul is saying I can do anything, I'm limitless, it's all potential, it's all possible, like thrive, you're meant to, it's meant to be enjoyable, it's meant to be abundant, it's meant to be everything you could ever dream of, it's meant to be enjoyable, and like you're in that space. And then, you know, like we all kind of like go through school, we go through like conditionings, we have like normal jobs and stuff. Often people will ask me like, have you ever worked a normal job, kind of thing, because everyone just knows me as a clairvoyant. But I've worked like 8 different jobs before I started doing this, and so you start like learning all these conditionings, or you start kind of setting up a life because it just seems like the thing to do, and then you might get into that space where you're like, oh, wait a minute, and you get that deep inner knowing where it's like, this isn't it, like this is okay, but this is not it, and if this is all it's ever going to be, like I'm not cool with this. Like this is why did I come here if this is all it's going to be, kind of thing. I'm trying to fix the hair on the other side of my but yeah, so I think it's just tapping into that essence of knowing that you have a vision, even if you don't know exactly what it is, and just tapping into the energy of it too, because like I said with my one, I didn't know when I was little, I didn't know exactly what my business would be or how I would do it, but I could tap into that woman. It's like you can actually tap into your future self, because she's already within you.
Absolutely.
She's like within you, and you can feel her, and if you tap into her and her essence, and you know this is a lot to do with like the quantum leaping, but I won't go into that because it's like a whole nother subject. But like if you just tap into that space of the woman that you know, or man that you know you're here to be, you can start picking up on like, what is she passionate about? What excites her? What is she wanting to spend all of her time and energy upon? And then we'll talk about the multi-dimensional like layers of. Well, I think before we do that, I just want to introduce like a bit more about what you do. And I just want to read some of the comments.
And then like for people on my group as well, if you want to do a quick intro on you, for you as well. Yeah,
definitely. This is so like unplanned.
Beautiful creation.
I just want to check some of the comments first. So I just want to say hi to everyone, and Bridget and Libby.
Hello.
I love how Libby said this is exactly what I'm going through at the moment. So you're like knowing that you're here for something, and I see you've like started your own thing now, which is like so in alignment with your journey and your purpose, which is so exciting. Cool. I know Bridget's like, yep, I've got stuff to do. Like have a big positive impact on the world. It's going to be amazing. Yes. Libby's like, in my job I shouldn't be posting things on social media, but I'm so passionate about helping people in similar situations, and I know I shouldn't, but I can't help it. as I know it's what I should be doing, but my head says no. So awesome, guys.
Resonating heaps.
Cool. Social norming and conditioning is the biggest lie. Just be a kid forever. Yes. I love it. Awesome.
So Kate, definitely you have awesome.
I always wanted horses. I didn't.
Yay! That's so cool,
I love
Vicky.
Horses.
They'd go straight to the how. That was in regards to the like millionaire and stuff. That's true. So much conditioning happened with me when I grew up. That's so true.
It always happens, but then I think like the soul calls you back. I feel like the soul gives us like a break, like, okay, go try do that human stuff, and then call me when you're bored. Or like more like the soul calls you when you're bored.
That's so
kind
true.
of thing. Like, okay, go do that. Like, I'm not going to scream at you, but when you sit and you lay in bed at the end of the night and say like, this doesn't feel right, or why aren't I feeling the way that I always knew I should be, kind of thing on a soul level. It's like you start tapping into that. But so for the girls in my group, Viola, and she is a vision alignment coach. So she is like the queen at helping you understand your vision, and she's also like really gifted at helping you see it, because she has like ever since she was little like been able to people that she's interacted with, like just naturally being able to get a vision for, what they're really here for, or like their potentials, and like seeing basically like as you've explained it to me, I would simplify it by saying like you see people in their highest path, regardless of say like what's going on for them currently or what kind of path they're on at the moment. You see beyond that and see them on their highest path, and so it's your ability to help them tune into that, and mutually, like the both of you, so like when you're coaching with people, help clarify the vision and then break down like what is every area of that vision, and how are you going to embody every area of that vision in order to magnetize it into being.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, it's so much fun.
Which is just so exciting, because it's like it just feels like 100% what you're here to do, and what you're really passionate about.
Yeah, exactly. And it is like and it happens in different ways, like either it's almost like that I feel like everyone knows it within themselves already anyway. It's just almost like I will get like a really clear confirmation when I'm like hearing things about someone's goals and they're really fully in alignment. I get really clear confirmation that is in alignment, and then sometimes I can see like the bigger picture of it, so I can really like be like, okay, here's how it would all fit in. Do you know what I mean? And help people kind of figure that out so they know what they're working towards. And then as well, for those of you on my page, this is the beautiful Jessica Reid. She is a Clairvoyant channel and Purpose Fulfilment Coach, and she's been my coach in an 8-week program, and I absolutely loved it. It was amazing. Like so much of what I've been able to set up for myself as well has been because of Jess. She's amazing. And so she does lots of obviously she's a clairvoyant, so she does that. She does a lot of work with spirit. She has like a podcast, which is amazing, and so many other wonderful things as well in the works. So it's really cool to be talking about this topic, because you as well, in terms of like highest vision embodiment, like being able to really embody what you're here for. Jess is an absolute expert at that. Like I really look up to her in many areas where she does this, so it's really cool.
So we just want to share some magic.
Yeah, exactly.
So say for instance with like the topic of like aligning with every dimension of your soul vision, I might be wondering like, what do you mean by that? so you break it up into like 12 dimensions pretty much, and that's so true, because we basically live in like a multiverse that is created, of 12 dimensions, essentially. It's not limited to 12 dimensions, but it's essentially of 12 dimensions. And so it's about realizing, like, if this is your vision, how are you going to realize and embody all dimensions that are a part of it? Because like we were saying earlier, you can't just have like an end point or a goal point, and just run at that and exhaust yourself on the way, and then end up with not being able to sustain it, or not being able to actually have the energy to run the empire that you create. Because your adrenals are shot, and or like and different areas,
like broken all your relationships with people, and like you don't feel good about yourself internally. So and it's like our soul doesn't want that for us. It's like it doesn't give us this picture, this image of something that we're capable of doing, which, by the way, I talk about this a lot, but I think it's so important to always bring up. It's like it's impossible for us to see something for ourselves, or like imagine ourselves doing something, if it isn't within the realm of possibility for ourselves, because we can only think up things that we are capable of doing. And it's like guaranteed, like when you get so excited about, like, let's say you saw or you imagined yourself in the future having like a really successful business and traveling the world, there is no part of your soul that wants you to get to that point and be unhappy internally and not have self-love for yourself, or doesn't want you to have good relationships with people. It's like this full package. And sometimes what can happen, because people get so laser focused on a specific end goal, like what we've been saying, that they neglect those other areas without realizing that those are actually the things that bring it all together. It's not just one thing. Yeah, definitely. And how you've got all these examples of like celebrities and like these big kind of like millionaires that they do interviews and they look
so tired and so worn out, and they're just saying like, this is not what it's cracked up to be, like, or they're kind of saying how, you know, like they've got everything that everyone thought you'd want, and they're unhappy, or they can't keep a marriage, or they can't, you know, like they just feel like they have been fooled because they've got everything that everyone thinks is going to make you happy in terms of success, and they're like trying to tell the world, like I've watched these documentaries from celebrities and like just all these interviews where people are like, don't get fooled by thinking that having this what's it called, like a milestone or a status or a certain amount of money is going to make you happy, like but if you have an approach of like every area right from the beginning and a clarity of like how you want every area to look, that's what's going to really kind of sustain the fulfillment, and you're going to be in it for long haul. Like that's another thing we're going to talk about is like if you've got a purpose, be in it for the long haul. Like if you've got a purpose, really align yourself fully with it so that you can sustainably, you know, do that for the rest of your life, as opposed to getting to a certain status with it within a short time frame, and then, you know, by hustling and then realizing I can't do this the rest of my life, I can't hustle this hard, or I can't, you know, exhaust myself like this the rest of my life. Like, get it aligned from the beginning.
Exactly.
So did you want to share with everyone like the different dimensions or ways of which that you help people focus, and what things they can be looking at in terms of clarifying their vision? Yeah,
so the main 12 areas that I recommend you look at, and I feel like it's like, anyone who actually knows me knows I'm so multi-passionate, and that like each category has like a whole group of subcategories that kind of fall under it. But to give you like a basic idea of what the 12 areas are, is firstly having clarity in your vision, because you really have to know what it is that you want to create. And it's like, you don't have to know how, you don't have to know like every aspect of what it's going to look like. However, you have to have that inspired feeling about something, you know, like this absolute inspired feeling that this is 100% the area that you should be working towards. And so it's like,
or like how you want to help other people feel.
Exactly, yeah.
Like, you may not know exactly how you're going to go about it, but like have the why or the intention and the feeling.
That's exactly it. And like, know how you want to feel. Like the specific emotions that you want to have be your daily emotions. Like right now, if you're bored, you might want to feel that feeling of fulfillment and that feeling of like absolute like heart bursting with joy about every aspect of your life. Yeah. And all those kinds of things. So it's like, you know, first creating this really clear picture of what it is you want to be working towards. Also noting that it's not, you know, this life isn't really about just trying to figure out what it is that we are. We actually can choose to create anything we want to be. So we can create that. So what do you want to create for yourself? And then the pillar this is where my passion started, the second pillar, and this is like an area that I'm still so super passionate about, is the pillar of health. Because health is just everything, you know. There's that old quote, I don't know where it comes from, but it's like that one, like, men are like so funny because they spend their whole life trying to make money and then spend all their money trying to gain back their health because they were just like so focused, right? Which I think is a really applicable quote. And so it's like, health, how you feel on a daily basis. Like, we are actually designed to be beings that feel vibrant and awake in the mornings. We wake up with energy and with a clear mind. At 3:30 in the afternoon, we still feel amazing, and when we go to bed, we feel good, and then as we close our eyes, we fall asleep for a full night's sleep. Like, on a very basic level, when it comes to health, we at least should have that energy, right? And then it goes on to look at, I can't even remember the order of them right now off the top of my head. But then it's like figuring out what your limiting beliefs are, you know, like figuring out where your mindset currently isn't aligned and pulling those bits out to the surface, because when we actually realize something, we can let go of it. And then it's about then recreating that mindset and creating an aligned mindset, and not only a mindset, but also practices in your life and actions in your life that are also aligned with this new way of living, and completely overhauling your environment as well. So whether we're talking about your physical environment, like your location in the world, your home, the area that you work in your home, to as well the people you surround yourself with, and the relationships that you have with yourself as well as the people in your life. And then we get kind of like a little bit more specific, then figuring out a little bit more of what your purpose is within your career. Like, how can you turn your passion into cash flow? And how can you brand yourself effectively on social media, so that, and as a person, so that not only you have these gifts, but the world knows about them.
Yeah, and I think like a valid point about that is like, we've been like wired as like humans to think that like what we're passionate about should just be our hobby.
Yeah.
That we shouldn't get paid for what we're passionate about. Or if
So
we're like
true.
gifted in some way, then it's like you're taking advantage if you're charging for it and things like that. But I think we're all coming back to a realization of like, doesn't it make sense that if we each come with an individual like gift or passion or talent, that's our exchange? Like, that's what we're meant to be, and that's what we're meant to be doing with, you know, the majority of our time is what we're actually really good at, because that's going to collectively create a better world if we're all spending a lot of time doing what we're all really good at, rather than all thinking that we're all supposed to be struggling in exchange for an income. You know, like, so I think that's the big thing too, is like, it's not wrong to make one of your parts of that vision, you know, how are you going to create a cash flow from your passion and what you're really here to do,
and that's
so that
a
you
full
can do
pillar
it
on its own, as well as money, because there's nothing spiritual about being broke. And there's also nothing spiritual about being rich. It's a resource, right? And healing that relationship can be one of the most like empowering things that you can do as well. So there's a whole pillar dedicated to money, actually. And then the final pillar is really just about joy and creation, and making sure that you're actually enjoying yourself along the process and having fun the whole way through. Because there's nothing worse than like feeling like everything's a chore in your life. And never like taking time to really appreciate yourself and like celebrate yourself and how far you're developing and everything. And exactly.
I think there are definitely like all these different areas that you're needing to look at to see like, how am I going to align with and embody like every area, and thinking about everything in a way where it's like, okay, now that I have my vision and I know what I'm here to create and the woman I'm here to be, and how I'm meant to be showing up and like contributing to this world, treating your energy, your time, your space, your finances, like everything, treating it like gold. Like if putting my time, energy, investment into this is not an investment into the highest good in terms of, you know, what you're really here for, if it's somewhat like a waste of that, or if it's, you know, downplaying the bigger vision, it's about treating it like it's gold and just being like, no, like I'm going to put my energy, time, my investments, you know, everything into what is actually supporting my highest soul, my highest self, my highest vision, my highest path, my highest purpose, like making sure that you're being really kind of like vigilant with every area, because a lot of people, I think, will be like, let's say for example, they'll be like, okay, I know I'm connected with my soul now, I know my purpose, I know my vision, and I'm going to do that, but I'm going to stay with this partner who doesn't support me, who brings me down, who tells me that I'm not good enough or that I can't do it, because I'm not ready to let go of, you know, certain parts of that, or you know what I mean? Like, it's like, and thinking that that's unrelated. Thinking like, oh, I can keep this crappy relationship that pulls me down, because I'll still do my vision anyway. I'll still fulfill my purpose. But it's like, how are you honoring the woman that you're really here to be in every area of your life now, so that she can fully be channeled through?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's such a good point as well, because then as well, like, it's not like, it's obviously the truth that when we start to challenge ourselves in those areas, because I do think it takes a level of courage to be able to look at your life and be like, here's where I'm out of alignment. And it's like, particularly with things like relationships, because a lot of times you know, we've been conditioned in specific ways, or maybe things have happened to us that make us feel validated by the relationships in our life, or as well perhaps that any love is better than no love, or, you know, things like that. So sometimes it can be such a scary feeling to like look at your situation, particularly with something like a partner, and be like, this is a relationship that is no longer serving that highest purpose that I have. And so it is like, you know, you do have to have that courage sometimes to look at your situation and be like, maybe I'm not doing the best, and then own up to it, you know. Don't just be like, oh, I'll save that for another day, you know, just like face it, face on or whatever, and then be like, okay, this is something that needs to change.
Like it is vital to the bigger picture kind of thing. And also, what was the other thing? Like, just in terms of like what you can do now moving forward is like, if you do just look at, okay, what is the bigger picture for me? What is the vision? What is it that's been like tapping at me from, you know, from my soul all my life? You know, even if I don't know what the actual details of it are, like what's the essence of it, what's the feeling of it, you know, and what are the things in my life currently, if I look at all areas of my life, like just choose one area to start with that you feel is like the biggest kind of roadblock, or where you're playing it small, or where you know it's not in the support of, and it might in fact be like in opposition of your actual bigger vision kind of thing. Like so say for example with the relationships, like you might not know exactly what your vision is, but if you're in a relationship where you're with someone where it's like, you know that this vision is going to take a lot of belief and a lot of commitment and a lot of like, you know, kind of just really aligning with it and really going for it, and you know that you're currently in a relationship with someone who is not supportive, or someone who is not motivated, or kind of just doesn't see you in your light. Even if you don't know the bigger vision, you know that that's an unsupporting component in your life right now, and that could be the one thing that you start really working on and looking at and considering. Because as we were talking before, we were saying like, when you think of it in a way where you think, if I get to the end of my life, like if I get to the end of this lifetime and I'm looking back and thinking, damn, like I knew all along, my soul was like nudging at me all along what I was here for, what I was meant to feel and experience, and an essence of that vision, or how I was meant to fulfill purpose, or my contribution to the earth and like the human collective consciousness, or, you know, having a feeling of that and realizing at the end of this lifetime, like, damn, I didn't fulfill it.
Yeah, like and why did I put up with these things for so long?
Yeah, why did I treat my energy and time and investments, you know, my finances or resources, as if they weren't worth nothing, or as if they were just disposable, or you know, like, why didn't I actually make of it what I came here to fulfill? Because that's going to be the worst feeling. I don't know if I can imagine a worse feeling than getting to the end of your life and realizing, like, I didn't do it. Like, I could have done it, but I let little things get in the way, or I wasn't like focused enough, or kind of like vigilant enough with, you know, my choices in each area of my life, and I just let time pass me by. Yeah. You know, so I think if you think of it like that, if you think about it like, okay,
it's such
how do
a
I
big
want to feel?
For me, because I mean that's a sad feeling to think about that, and the saddest, like, because I saw an interview, and I can't remember the name off the top of my head right now, but it was a lady who worked in like as a nurse with all the people that were kind of at the end of their life, and she ended up writing a book about it after 10 years, because she noticed the same 5 regrets were coming up for everyone, and it was called like the regrets of the dying or something, and all of them were like, why didn't I do more, like why didn't I just take that chance, why didn't I just like love more? It's all these things that right now we actually have complete control of to make that decision. And it's like we act like we have all the time in the world to do that, when
as if our time and energy and resources aren't precious.
Exactly. But it's like, no, right
here
now. And you wouldn't be getting that nudge. You wouldn't be like even thinking that is something for you to pursue if it wasn't meant for you. You know, that those ideas and those feelings we get are your soul being like, hey, come on,
Hello.
like it's time to step up.
Yeah. And I think, like, I feel like the soul is like, okay, well, if you don't do it this time, you can come back around and, you know, you can try again. But I feel like the soul's like, but don't you want to do it now?
Yeah, like,
don't
why
you want to
wait?
feel the enjoyment and the fulfillment of it now? Don't you want to make the most of this experience? Don't you want to be happy? Like, don't you want to feel good, kind of thing?
Yeah.
So I think that is the big thing too, is like, in the end, that's all that's going to matter, is whether you feel like you lived, and whatever that means to you.
Yeah.
Like, for some people, you know, like, it's most important for them that they're a mother and that they give, you know, like, all of their love to their children, or, you know, everyone has a different purpose and a different perception of how living life is to them, but it's important that at the end of the day, like, you get to a point where you can kind of rest knowing, like, I lived, like, what my soul came here to live, and I loved it. You know?
Like, everything about it was awesome.
Yeah, and like, it wasn't perfect every part of the way, but I made it. You know, like, I brought it into place, into fulfillment of what my soul intended, and like, you gave it your best shot, kind of thing. Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing.
I think so too.
Truly, yeah. And I think also it's like one of the biggest thing is we can like talk about all of this, but you know, when it comes to just making it really simple and making it like your day-to-day things, it's just fear or love. Like, what are you going to choose? Just looking at every choice and knowing that there is an option to take fear or to take love. Yeah. You know, and love representing passion, joy, fulfillment, like just excitement, everything like that. Like, are you choosing love and those type of feelings within everything that you're doing? And if so, you're doing pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, are you choosing to stay, you know, are you choosing to stay in your situation out of fear of what might happen, or fear that you might, you know, be different? Or are you choosing to do what you're doing because of the loving aspects of it? Do you know what I mean? Because of what it can create. And it is because if I look at any area of my life where I'm out of alignment, it's because in those areas I'm making decisions out of fear. You know, and that is it is the truth. Like, and it's
or
funny,
like playing it small. Or
yeah,
safe.
Exactly. Playing, and that like all falls under that fear umbrella, right? Is playing it small, and it's like so funny because it's like so contradictory. It's like we're like not doing it because we're afraid, but really if we did it, it would be like the catalyst for everything to change in our life and us to truly be happy. So it's like the most bizarre thing when you think about it logically. Yeah.
It is kind of funny. We humans are weird. But yeah, was there any last things that you wanted to share, or?
I don't think so. There was just, we went through those comments. Yeah, energy is like gold.
Yeah.
Exactly. If we're not living towards our highest purpose, what's the point? Yeah. Exactly.
So, like ripping a Band-Aid, find the courage, then rip it. Yeah. And I've been like, this is like a funny story. I think you already know. But lately I've been having this like almost like thrill seeker type energy about me, where I've just been like, if I get an inspiration about it and I want to do it, I should just practice in like every instance, just being like, fuck it, I'm just going to do it kind of thing. And the other day I was in my bedroom, so we're living out on a farm. There's a bunny. We're living out on a farm, and so like my bedroom, it's like the master bedroom. So it's a bedroom and then a big ensuite, and then it's got like the big like double doors out that look out into the garden and like the big grass patch. And I was like, the bunny. And my sister and my nephew were like out in the common area, like in the lounge room area, which looks out over the lawn. And I was in my room and I was about to get dressed, like get out of my pajamas and get in my clothes. And as I was like taking my pajamas off, I thought to myself, I should just go do like a nude streak across the lawn just to like get a laugh out of my sister. Just because it'd be funny to just randomly like nude streak across the lawn. Because we're staying on a farm and like no one else is going to see me. And I could feel my mind just like, oh nah, like don't do that. Like that's embarrassing or something. And I could feel my soul just like, do it. Like, and I could just feel, like, I could just look out the nature and just be like, you know what, it would feel so good to just go run out there naked and just, like, breathe in the fresh air and the nature and just be at one with nature. So I was like, I'm just going to do it. And, like, I was in my room and no one could see me at that point, and I was kind of, like, walking out the door, like, covering myself and just being like, am I really doing this? And then I just decided, like, okay, I'm just going to do it. And then I just ran out across the whole lawn, and I was, like, losing myself laughing, like absolutely laughing so hard, and just running across the lawn. And I looked over and my sister's in the kitchen and she's like she's like it's just like this look on her face was just like, what the hell? And so she came out on the porch and she's like, have you lost your marbles? And I was like just laughing so hard, and I was like, oh my god. And then I just like ran back into my room, and she came round and back into my room. She's like, what are you doing? And I was like, I just felt like it, so I just did it. And she's like, that was the funniest thing ever. And I was just like, cool, made your day, like. And that was so much fun for me because it was just like getting out of that place of like having an inspired thought or something that just sounds like fun for the fun of it, and then being like, oh no, I won't do it. So I just like made myself do it. I was like, it's literally not going to harm myself or anyone. Maybe their eyes. But like, it's not going to do any harm to anyone or anything. And like, it's only going to be fun, and it's only going to make me feel like I did something for the fun of it, and me and my sister are going to have a good laugh about it. So, like, why not just do it? So, it can be, like, those little things that are, like, totally not serious or totally not, like, big life-changing things. But it's, like, having that mindset and attitude of just, like, just stop limiting yourself.
Yeah, and stop taking everything so serious. Stop taking it so serious. And, like enjoy yourself. And yeah. And it was funny, though, because, like, before that, I was listening to Abraham Hicks. And they were talking about, like, how you should, like, just have fun. Like, just freaking have fun. Like, don't worry so much. Like, you guys overthink everything. And then so when I had that thought, I was like, I just have to do this. Yeah, gotta do it.
Just have to do it. So, yeah, I just encourage you to, like, just choose love over fear. And it's just fun. And just do what your soul feels like doing. And reach for that, like, feeling of your higher self, who you're really here to be, your future self. And, like, you know that quote where people say, like, make your future self proud? Yeah. Like, what you do today will make your future self proud. Yeah. You know? So, like, just having that whole focus and that whole... Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Just so thought I'd throw that story in there. I love it. I'm so glad you did. Oh, awesome. Okay, well, I can see the comments. Libby's like, lol. Lol. Thrill seeking. Amazing. Cool. All right. Unless anyone had any questions, I think we'll finish there, and then everyone else can catch up on the recordings. Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, this has been fun. Yeah, and so if you want to join Viola's group, it's Abundant Visionary Babes. It's Abundant Babes, and then a home for visionaries. Yeah, yeah. So if you want to go get part of that, you can go get part of that. So yeah, thank you so much for watching and listening to our crazy stories. Yeah, cool. Bye. Bye.